Get all of your Dragon Ball figures at Big Bad Toy Store at the link in the description down below. Dragon Ball, Pokemon, Kaiju, and more. It's Steven's Toy Reviews. Hello there, collectors. It is Steven here, and today I am bringing you a review of the SH Figuarts Kamen Rider Gohan, or the SH Figuarts Great Saiyaman, if you're not aware of what Kamen Rider is. Maybe went over a few of your heads. Anyway, today we are taking a look at a highly requested figure from a lot of fans who were really hoping to get the Great Saiyaman in the SH Figuarts lineup. Because why? Well, this over-the-top zany character is a persona of Gohan, which rang a bell with quite a few collectors who really loved his charm. Now, Bandai knew that this figure probably wouldn't necessarily click well with all collectors, so he is a Bandai Web exclusive, but that also means they included a ton of accessories, including 3 different head sculpts. That's right, a total of 4 different display options out of one release. Surely it has to be amazing, right? Well, let's take a look to see whether or not he's worth adding into your collection. When it comes to the looks, Great Saiyaman, Gohan, whatever you would prefer to call him, looks fantastic. There's only one issue in that there's too much of a green spray on his abdomen. You can actually see the part where it was masked off to prevent the spray from going over, but other than that, he looks great. It does look like they reused some parts from one of the Vegeta releases or Armored Trunks specifically for the legs. Not quite sure about the arms, but you know what? That's okay because it still works for this release and it is accurate to the character. Speaking of which, there are 2 holes in the clothing on his chest. A lot of folks have been saying that that's not accurate to anything at all. It is actually accurate to one specific scene in the anime that someone posted in a Facebook group that I lost the post of, so I haven't been able to track that down. But anyway, taking a closer look at Gohan here, we can take a look at the default Great Saiyaman helmet. And man, this thing looks great. We're only able to see from about the lower portion of his nose down to his chin in terms of actual facial features, so not a whole lot of sculpting there for his face, but the helmet itself is really cool. The orange is a nice shiny color, and the dome on the helmet is made of a nice sparkly blue, dark blue plastic, and it is so reflective you can actually see the ring light on my camera reflecting off of the helmet. So that is good to see that they actually went the extra mile and made it very, very shiny. We do also have the antennae up there, which do be careful. They are made of a harder plastic and they will snap if he takes one too many shelf dives. So be careful there, but don't worry, Bandai has your back. The gold button on the belt looks great as usual. No issues there. One of the 3 areas where Bandai succeeded with the gold. Good job. The arms are fantastic, and we do actually have the little bracelet on his left arm, which the paint application actually does not falter at all, which is kind of surprising because sometimes in those smaller areas, Bandai may mess up a little bit. All in all, Gohan looks fantastic and is a striking release for those who are fans of Great Saiyaman. I really do have nothing but praises to say, so as the kids would say, this figure is dope. Articulation, what are we looking at? Well, I got some good news and I got some bad news. The bad news is that you take any other Dragon Ball Figuarts and you put it up to this guy, you're going to get about the same range of movement. The good news is you take any other Figuarts in the Dragon Ball line and you put it up to this guy, you're going to get the same range of movement. And that is definitely saying something considering we have all of this clothing going on here, right? Because we've had previous releases where, like, let's say Android 18, where this has definitely gotten in the way. Even Goku Black, even helmeted characters, maybe we weren't able to really get a whole bunch of movement out of it, but you know what? Bandai was able to figure out a way to deliver in the action figure department here with Great Saiyaman. So you know what? Let me stop talking and let me show you what we got. Well, the head plugs in on a ball joint where we can rock it around and we can move it and bob it around, get them to look in a whole bunch of different directions from side to side. That's great. There's also a swivel there, so this way we can get him to move up and down just like that. Then there is this ball jointed section of the neck, which can move as well. So that is great, fantastic range. He can look down about that far and look up about that far until the head pops off. So yeah, that is about the average range of movement for all the Gohan heads, so just do keep that in mind. You may have to use other joints to compensate if you want to get Gohan to look at one specific object, but that's okay. What else do we have? You're probably familiar with the arms by now. We have this floating section here, which are on ball joints as they plug into the shoulder, so you can get them to move down like that, move up, and then just jostle around. Hinges at the shoulder, along with ball joints and a butterfly hinge, so this way Gohan can move his arms out about that far. Very nice. bicep swivel so we can spin the arms around. It would help if I actually showed that. This one squeaks. But that's okay. We do have a double hinge elbow, which is nice. Standard SH Figuarts style wrist joints where we're going to have the hands plug in on a ball joint. And then they are going to swivel at the base alongside a hinge joint, which is very nice. So far, so good. We have a ball jointed ab crunch where you can see the paint line there, like I made mention earlier. Very nice. And then a ball jointed waist as well, so we get more movement. And like I said, you can use the other joints to get Gohan to look in one specific direction if one joint does not give you the full range of movement that you would like. Then moving on down, we do have the 2.0 style hips, which are going to feature double swivels. Forward about that far, back about that far, doesn't block the range of movement at all. Out to the sides that far, fantastic. The only thing is, let me grab the box real quick. If you take a look at the Great Saiyaman pose here, it shows that these two pieces actually are supposed to go behind the leg. Not possible, really, on the final product. Just doesn't happen. But anyway. So we do have thigh swivels where the legs plug in. Double hinge knees. Now, like I made mention for the Vegeta legs, he does have ball jointed ankles, which are perfectly fine. Very nice. Get them to go out like that, forward like that, ankle rocker, and toe hinge. So yeah, like I said, basically all your SH Figuarts goodness with some design limitations that Bandai was able to circumvent. So hey Bandai, with all the other things that you make, why can't you put as much effort into them as you did this? Anyway, Great Saiyaman, Gohan, fantastic articulation. I keep using fantastic. Are you sure you're watching the right channel? Now it's time to talk about the accessories, and that's probably one of the reasons why you're going to be buying this figure. Obviously, we have the cape, but we also have an alternate Super Saiyan 2 Gohan head sculpt. We have an alternate base form Gohan head sculpt. It doesn't look very good. We have a Great Saiyaman alternate head sculpt with a bandana and some sunglasses, an alternate helmeted head faceplate. We get 4 extra sets of hands. We get an alternate left arm, forearm piece without the bracelet, and we get an alternate set of antenna in case you should break them. Oh, there's also a little plug for the back when you're not using Gohan's cape. First and foremost, let's go ahead and take a look at that cape, and it, yeah, so we just got off the Mr. Satan release, and that cape looked fantastic. There was some nice shading in there with paint. It attached seamlessly. It worked well. Well, here, they went the extra mile and they included one joint for articulation. It's on a swivel hinge combo, so this way you can spin it, you can have it floating in the air and whatnot, and they also accommodated that with using soft plastic for the actual part that goes over his shoulders, but unfortunately it doesn't have that great of a fit, and I don't think they used any sort of paint aside from a little bit of a darker red to highlight some of the crevices in the tail end of the cape there where it would be flowing in the wind, so yeah, it's kind of bland. We do also have the gold buttons, which are going to be up by his collarbones, and though one looks pretty much fine, the other, looks like we got a paint chip or two. On mine, anyway. Yeah, not that great. But yeah, there is a point of articulation, so if you wanted to move the cape around a little bit, you could absolutely do that. Very similar to the Figuarts Majin Buu Zen. All right, so now we're going to go ahead and take a look at the alternate head parts, and first we're going to take a look at the alternate faceplate for the helmeted head, and it is going to be Gohan when he is yelling. So the way that this works is you're going to have to first pop off the actual head, not a difficult thing to do. Then there's a whole disassembly thing where you're going to have to pop off the lower portion of the helmet, remove the faceplate, reinsert the new faceplate that you want to use, reinsert the lower portion, and then pop it back on. It's pretty easy to do. We do also have the bandana head, which looks nice, and the sunglasses that he has on are actually nice and reflective, almost as reflective as the dome on the helmet. And yes, the tails for the bandana also have a small ball joint there, which offer limited range of movement, so you can basically just spin them around the back of his head. We do also have the base form for Gohan head, which, it doesn't look that great. Looks like something out of My Hero Academia, which isn't necessarily bad, but it doesn't fit in the Dragon Ball universe. It just doesn't look like Gohan. Yeah. Also take note, this is a very loose fit on Gohan's neck peg, so yeah, this is going to be bobbling around a little bit. So if you want a Gohan bobblehead, congratulations, you've got that. Now, what the star of this show is, at least for me, the reason why I got this Great Saiyaman figure, the Super Saiyan 2 head sculpt for Gohan. And this looks great. It really is a fierce-looking expression on Gohan. We do have a fantastic gradient of paint on the hair. The only issue is that mine came with a couple of paint chips out of the box, so do keep that in mind. It appears that this seems to be very easy to chip. Do not allow Gohan to take any shelf dives. Now we do have the extra hand parts, and what do we have? Well, aside from the fists, we are going to have the splayed hands. We are also going to have two sets of sort of karate chopping hands. One, so this way he can do the Great Saiyaman pose where he is pointing his hands inward from sort of his temples on down to his chin. And then he's going to have another set of those hands, which are going to allow him to throw his hands backwards. The difference between these two hands are the places where you would insert the ball joint for swapping of the hands. The in front of the face hands actually have the ball joint inserted underneath them, while the ones going behind him have the ball joints inserted at the top. I hope that makes sense. Then we do also finally have the sort of karate fighting hands that he would like to use in some interesting poses. Not quite Kamehameha hands, but if you wanted to use them as such, you absolutely could use them. Now we do also get an alternate left forearm part, which is just the same as the right one, just doesn't have the bracelet. So yeah, you don't really need to see that. And the antenna, just don't break them. You just pop them off the sprue and then you can pop them in new. Unfortunately, I really couldn't pop mine off of the helmet, so I can't really show you how to do that. But anyway, Great Saiyaman here comes with pretty much everything you could ask for at the $65 price point. Of course, if you want alternate faceplates for all of those heads, on top of effect parts, on top of extra hands, we're probably pushing about $90 to $100, which, hey, Bandai, why don't you start maybe making deluxe versions of these figures, huh? Yeah. Anyway, if you think you maybe need a little bit more, like maybe an effect support stand, or maybe you need a recommendation for a couple of effect parts, you know I have videos for that. Now we're going to go ahead and wrap up this review with a size comparison for you so you can see exactly how big Gohan is in his later teenage years in SH Figuarts format. As you can clearly see, he will blend in just fine enough with some of the other figures you already have displayed. Whether or not it's going to be maybe a fantasy rematch with Cell, or maybe he's going to take on Majin Vegeta. Who knows? It's up to you. So buy now, skip, or wait for a deal. With basically no real big quality control issues except for what maybe be exclusive to mine, articulation that is great, and accessories out the wazoo, the Great Saiyaman release is a fantastic figure, and fans of the character are really gonna love this release. Now, I gotta be completely transparent, I'm not that big of a fan of Great Saiyaman proper. I am a fan, though, of later years teenage Gohan in Super Saiyan 2 form. I do like that look, and that is why this figure appealed to me. So, I said I might as well go ahead and pick this up, and you know what? With everything else that he came with, I think I got my money's worth. If you're interested in getting this, I would definitely hop on this sooner rather than later. This is a P Bandai exclusive, which was made available in the US thanks to Bluefin, so once orders go, yeah, he's going to be gone for good. Get your order in sooner rather than later, and don't pay hefty aftermarket prices. Great Saiyaman is a great release. Get him today. Well, collectors, that brings us to the end of the video today, and I just wanted to take a second to thank you so much for watching. Now, you've heard a lot from me. I'd like to hear a little bit from you. Drop in the comments down below whether or not you liked it, you hated it, or maybe you were somewhere in between. I also want to take an extra second here for a nice, humongous thank you to all the patrons for SDR over the last month who have really helped the channel grow into what it can be today. So to all of you, 2 big thumbs up. Thank you very much. And now the end card should be popping up, which will give you a few clickable links, like maybe to subscribe or head on over to my Patreon, or some short URLs like to my social media or to my Teespring store. There's also a video I hand-selected for you, so if you want to watch another STR video, I hand-selected some good content for you to watch, so definitely check out that video. Thank you again so much for watching, and I'll catch ya in the next video.